Hey everyone, it's Doug Forbes, co-founder of Meow Meow Foundation and co-producer of Roxie's Wish, Drowning Prevention Week for Children.
And this is Elena Mattias, also co-founder of Meow Meow Foundation and co-producer of Roxie's Wish.
We are standing outside of this beautiful place called Lake Cachuma, which is in San Ynez Valley here in kind of central California. But Lake Cachuma is just, it's bustling with activity today. It's a beautiful day here.
We chose Lake Cachuma as this is one of the places we enjoyed open water with Roxie. We came down and rented a boat, launched right down there, and as soon as we rented our boat, we were handed 3 life jackets. And we all put on our life jackets before embarking upon a day of boating.
Yeah, it was a great day, and we're going to talk a lot more about life jackets and their meaning to drowning prevention. What we do here, of course, at Meow Meow Foundation, actually a big chunk of what we do, is partnerships. And we're going to hear from the LV Project.
I was impacted after learning of Connor's story so much that I had life vests sent to my nephew, my 21-year-old nephew, to ensure that he remains safe while paddleboarding. There's a perception that only little kids need life vests, and as we've learned from the LV Project and the other advocates, that is just not the case.
Some of my favorite memories with Roxie are playing in the pool together. She'd have the biggest smile while splashing you and giggling away. Enjoying the water can be fun and safe, but it only takes one mistake for things to go wrong. No matter your swimming ability, always wear a life jacket while paddleboarding, kayaking, or boating. Check the conditions before going out. Be sure that you've got someone at shore that knows where you are at all times. Wear a leash connecting you to your board to keep it from getting away from you if you fall in. Losing Roxie was one of the toughest things I've gone through in life. Thinking twice about your safety, as well as the safety of others, can save a life. We love you, Rox, and we miss you so much.
Hi, my name is Dana Gage. I'm with the LV Project here in Fort Worth, Texas, and I just want to thank you for the chance to tell my story today. When my son Connor was 15 years old, he got an invitation to go to the lake, and it was for a birthday party. He and 4 friends and a host family went to a lake about 2 hours away from our house. And they arrived pretty late in the day, but the boys really wanted to swim. It was a holiday weekend, and they were ready to let their hair down. And the host family gave them permission to swim. Connor did a jump from the top of the boat dock, and he landed badly, and he did not resurface. And the reason why he didn't resurface is very simple. Life jackets were not required at this birthday party. Connor was an excellent swimmer. He was very athletic. He was a lake kid. He was a water bug. Yet he died in the lake. It just took one bad jump, one bad fall, one bad gulp, and it was over. Most people don't know that drowning rates triple at age 15, and they remain elevated throughout adulthood, and most of those drownings are happening in lakes. There's 2 spikes in drowning. Ages 1 through 4 are at greatest risk for drowning in pools, so that's where we gotta really keep an eye on our littles. But there's a second spike that very few people know about, and that is ages 15 to 19, just like Connor. And most of those drownings are happening in open water, like lakes, rivers, streams, ocean, bay. It's a phenomenon we call the X effect, and you can learn a lot more about it at the lvproject.org. So Here at the LB Project, we like to say, just like you buckle up in the car, buckle up at the lake, because water safety is lifelong. All ages, all water, always.
Hello, my name is Janet Evans. I am a 4-time Olympic gold medalist in the sport of swimming and a 3-time Olympian. I learned how to swim when I was little, 6 months old, because my mom doesn't know how to swim. She raised 3 young kids. We all know how to swim. Her youngest, me, went to the Olympics, but she still won't learn how to swim. I tell her every summer, I don't care how old you are, I'm going to get you in the pool and I'm going to teach you how to swim. Swimming is a life sport. When I swam, I had a funny little stroke. I had these straight arms and they kind of looked like a windmill, but gosh, I was fast, and gosh, I got to the other end of the pool and I beat people. But more importantly, I got to the other end of the pool. Swimming is a life skill, like I said. With swimming, you can play in the ocean, you can surf in the ocean, you can do triathlons, water skiing, if you know how to swim. If you don't know how to swim, you never have the opportunities to do that. I thank my mom for teaching my brothers and I how to swim, because it was a gift that she gave us that we still use every single day. I encourage all of you to learn how to swim. You don't have to become Olympians or Paralympians, but it is a life skill, and it doesn't matter what it looks like. As long as you get down the side of the pool, it will be great.
Today, we're standing outside of Lake Kachuma, as we've mentioned, and there are no lifeguards here. That is relatively normal. There are a lot of waterfronts that just do not have lifeguards on duty. And just to recap, waterfront, open water, is a lake, it's a pond, it's a river, it's the ocean, it's a channel. It's almost anything without a swimming pool or a bathtub or a bucket.
Hi, I'm Los Angeles County Supervisor Kathryn Barger. The safety and well-being of youth across Los Angeles County is my top priority. Swimming pools should foster happy memories for families, not end in tragedy. I'm truly grateful to Doug and Elena for their tireless advocacy to bring awareness to drowning prevention. Your deeply personal and heartbreaking story is now making a huge impact on others' lives and is helping prevent other families from facing a similar incident. In Los Angeles County, we will continue to do everything we can to protect our children and ensure they are cared for and safe when they are in a county pool. Awareness is key, and it's important that we equip parents and caregivers with the resources and information they need to prioritize their child's safety. I commend your resolution in memory of Roxie to declare Drowning Prevention Week for children. I look forward to the passage of Assemblyman Holden's bill next year, which will provide critical drowning prevention resources for school children. I will continue to lend my voice to this critical effort, and I am so grateful for the grassroots support that's emerged from our community for this cause. Together, we can ensure the safety of youth for generations to come.
My name's Heather Murray, and I'm from Mount Clair, West Virginia. I'm here with a nonprofit called Carissa's Caution in honor of my rock star, Carissa Babcock. When Carissa was 9 years old, she drowned while swimming in a river. Carissa's Caution goes out to local elementary schools, youth groups, and daycares to initiate the conversation with kids about the differences between swimming in pools and natural bodies of water. We teach children to always remember Carissa to find the safest place to swim in natural bodies of water. Check the area beforehand, acknowledge nature, raise red flags, identify a water guardian, set boundaries, swim within arm's reach of a responsible adult, and always swim safely. We know your kids are capable of having this important conversation. Please talk to your kids today about water safety. Remember Carissa and help prevent drownings.
We're very fortunate to have formed a partnership with Dr. Chris Thurber, who has dedicated a huge portion of his career towards training young adults to be safe in open waterfronts. His lifeguarding experience and his vigilance for water safety is something we can all aspire to.
Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Chris Thurber, psychologist and author of the Summer Camp Handbook, here with an important message about lifeguarding. I was a camp waterfront director for more than 25 seasons, and I can tell you the following: experience matters. And I'm not talking about my experience as a waterfront director, I'm talking about the on-site, on-the-job experience that lifeguards must receive. Certifications are important, but remember, when lifeguards get their certifications, it's on a day they've reviewed everything and they're performing those skills under controlled conditions. What lifeguards need is on-the-job, on-site experience, whether it's a lake or river or pool or ocean. You need to make sure that you can scan, do emergency action plans, underwater search and rescue, backboarding, under all kinds of different weather and environmental conditions. That's what's going to give you the confidence to do your job well. That's what's going to teach you not just how to perform a skill, but how to perform it well in a particular circumstance. So please, have somebody outside your organization observe your lifeguards on duty and provide feedback about what they're doing well and what they need to work on. Because now, pre-season and during the season, that's the time to get regular practice performing all the essential lifeguarding skills. Waiting until there's an accident and asking what we could have done better is too late. You can ask and answer that question now and have the confidence that when you show up on the job, you know exactly what to do to prevent an accident from happening and to keep all the participants safe in the water. Have a great season.
Chris is a Harvard-trained psychologist in addition to being a waterfront director for a very well-known camp.
We've been fortunate to hear from young lifeguards, from young adults that are working as lifeguards, and their vigilance has impressed us, and we can all learn from them and from their training.
Hi, this is Jenny Vermeulen and Elizabeth Vermeulen, and this video is in honor of Roxie Forbes, who unfortunately I didn't get to meet, but wish that I did. Elizabeth is my daughter. She's 16 years old, and she was certified last summer to be a lifeguard. She worked at a local pool at a country club near us. Elizabeth, what are some safety tips that you learned through going through the lifeguarding course?
I think one of the most important things is to never swim alone, no matter how good a swimmer you are, because you never know when something could happen. Another important thing is to always supervise children and people who aren't overly strong swimmers. And another safety measure would be to wear a life vest, especially a Coast Guard certified life vest. But most importantly would also be to just teach your kids to swim and about safety in the water, because it's an important life skill.
As a lifeguard, what would you say is some of the most dangerous behavior in the pool that you've seen?
A lot of the times kids will have breath holding contests, or they'll be kind of tackling each other or fighting in the water, which isn't safe because that could potentially lead to drowning. Another dangerous thing that I usually see is kids will try to dive into areas that are shallow, but it's important to jump in feet first, and especially be careful in areas where it's shallow or areas where there's a diving board, because that's where most accidents happen.
Hi, my name is Mick Barbie. I'm a lifeguard at Graydon Pool, and I just want to talk a little bit about water safety today. So at Graydon and everywhere else I've looked at, lifeguarding is taken very seriously, and the lifeguards have to pass a very difficult test to make sure they're strong enough and know what they're doing. And then every day before we open, we make sure to get 30 minutes to an hour of training in, just in case anything goes wrong. Stay safe.
The first step to becoming a lifeguard is to pass the lifeguarding pretest. During the pretest, the instructor will assess your swimming abilities to ensure you can keep yourself safe and complete a rescue. In this video, we'll discuss the pretest requirements to be a swimming pool lifeguard, but there are also opportunities to be a shallow water lifeguard. We'll list the differences throughout this video and review at the end. Let's dive in. Swim. Swim 300 yards continuously using front crawl and or breaststroke. Demonstrate a good stroke using good breath control and rhythmic breathing. Goggles are okay, but you are not allowed to swim on your side or back. For the shallow water test, you will swim 100 yards. Tread. Tread water for 2 minutes using only your legs. Place your arms under your armpits. The brick test. No goggles allowed on this part. You will have 1 minute and 40 seconds to complete the following task. Starting in the water, swim 20 yards. Your face can be in or out of the water for the swimming. Surface dive, feet or head first to the bottom of the pool, 7 to 10 feet deep, and retrieve a 10-pound object. For the shallow water test, the pool will be 4 to 5 feet deep. Return to the surface with the object and swim the 20 yards back to your starting point, maintaining both hands on the object. Keep your face at or above the surface of the water so you can breathe. Put the object on the side of the pool and get out of the water without use of the ladder or steps. Some people may not be able to complete the regular lifeguarding pretest, but can still qualify to be a shallow water lifeguard. Let's look at the differences between the regular lifeguarding pretest and the shallow water lifeguarding pretest. The lifeguarding pretest requires you to swim 300 yards continuously. The shallow water lifeguarding pretest requires you to swim 100 yards continuously. Both tests require you to be able to tread water for 2 minutes using only your legs. During the brick test, the lifeguarding pretest requires you to surface dive, feet or head first to a depth of 7 to 10 feet to retrieve the 10-pound brick. But during the shallow water lifeguarding test, you only need to surface dive to a depth of 4 to 5 feet. You may walk or swim the object back to the edge of the pool.
Hi, my name is Kevin Brady. I'm a state lifeguard here at Point Lobos. I'm also a state park peace officer in charge of enforcing rules here on land. The surf is the biggest safety concern here at Point Lobos. Waves get very large here, unpredictable. If you're ever down near the water, never turn your back on the ocean. Always keep an eye on the surf. Explore with a buddy would be a good recommendation too. Rocks are slippery. You can easily slip and fall and hurt yourself down in the tide pools while venturing down on the wet rocks. As a lifeguard, we have a lot of tools that we use to save lives. One of them is this rescue tube right here. It's a flotation device that I give to the person to float on, and then I can wrap them into it and clip them in and bring them to shore. That's probably my most important tool. I have the bright rash guard for high visibility. I have the wetsuit because the water's cold here. I have the swim fins. I'm a good swimmer, but these make me a much faster swimmer, the swim fins. I have a helmet for around rocky rescue area where I don't want to potentially, I could hit my head, so I wear the helmet to protect my head. I have the binoculars over there. See on the back of the truck, I have the binoculars that I use to see people far away, boats, kayaks, divers. Just gives me a better perspective of what they're doing and, if they're in trouble or not. During my career here at Point Lobos, I've made hundreds of rescues and responded to hundreds of calls. And the one thing I've learned is never turn your back on the ocean. Respect the ocean, so just be careful and have fun enjoying it.
We are standing in front of the majestic Pacific Ocean.
We're here at beautiful Gaviota Beach in Santa Barbara County, one of the most iconic beaches in the world. And as you can see, there's not a lifeguard in sight. This is an open waterfront. This is complete recreation and adventure area. When it comes to open water and beautiful environments such as this, I'm going to steal a phrase from our friend Dana Gage at the LV Project. It's not just about protecting the littles. We have to protect the bigs too. Children 14 and older are most likely to drown in open water environments.
We're going to be speaking now with this wonderful gentleman named Dr. Justin Semsrott, and he is a co-founder in a remarkable organization called Lifeguards Without Borders. So let's hear from the expert himself. Dr. Justin, take it away.
Hi, I'm Dr. Justin Semsrott, Medical Director for StarGuard Elite and Executive Director of Lifeguards Without Borders. Drowning disproportionately affects young people, especially those ages 1 to 4. One of the difficulties with drowning prevention is that it really requires behavior change. There's no nonprofit out there that needs to tell us not to touch a hot stove because the feedback is immediate and severe. Using the analogy of road traffic accidents, I could not wear my seatbelt for a year, and most of the time nothing bad is going to happen. But when it does, if I'm in that car collision, then I'm going to really rely heavily on that seatbelt. Similarly with drowning prevention, I can have no fence around my pool, no CPR lessons, and no swim lessons for my child, and it's probably going to be okay until it's not. And drowning prevention really requires those layers of prevention. Going back to the analogy of cars, they have crumple zones, airbags, seat belts. We do safety programs on not drinking and driving, not driving while distracted, because we really need all of those layers. Similarly with drowning prevention, teach your kids to swim, use pool fences, alarms, and take CPR classes. And that requires not just individual action, but legislative action as well. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Gus Avila. I'm the president of the United States Lifesaving Association. The USLA is the nation's premier organization of open water lifesavers whose mission is to protect hundreds of millions of swimmers and bathers at beaches and lakefronts each year. It is my honor to join you during Roxie's Wish event on behalf of surf lifesavers around the country who work every day to make families' trips to coastal communities exactly what they're supposed to be, a day at the beach. As a retired California state lifeguard who served 32 years on the beach, I was proud to assist people from all over the world enjoy the beach safely. Every guard will tell you the best way to protect swimmers is to be able to see them and for them to swim in designated areas and for swimmers to swim near a lifeguard. The USLA has calculated that based on reported statistics, swimmers have a 1 in 18 million chance of fatal drowning on a lifeguarded beach. Thus, our first request would always be to choose a lifeguard-protected beach. It is amazing to be a part of this program, and I hope that you remember that the ocean is a dynamic environment, and what may look calm may be dangerous beneath the surface. So always check with the lifeguard first before you enter the water, and thank you for allowing the USLA to play a small part in this incredible water safety event. See you at the beach.
Hello everybody, my name is Summer. I am a beach lifeguard here in San Diego as well as a fellow competitive swimmer, used to be competitive swimmer. I swam my entire life in the pool and was able to transition that knowledge that I gained from swimming in the pool to the ocean when I was a lifeguard here in San Diego. Now, I learned so much during that summer of guarding, and ultimately, whether it was rescues or teaching the public about water safety, I found that there's a lot of people out there that don't understand what water safety really entails. And so today I'm going to give you a few tips on what that is. Number 1, only swim at lifeguard protected beaches with designated swimming areas. Number 2, stay alert. Look for the colored flags on the beach. Talk to the lifeguards. Ask them, what is the water doing today? As well as making sure that you know about today's weather condition. Number 3, never ever swim alone. Even if you're a really good swimmer, always have a swimming buddy with you. If you have a younger or inexperienced swimmer, make sure that they have a U.S. Coast Guard approved life jacket on at all times. We actually have those available to you at swimoutlet.com, so definitely check those out. Stay at least 100 feet away from piers and jetties. Why? Because there's a rip current that likes to flow right next to those. And if you get caught in that, you will get sucked out. Swimming in the ocean takes a different kind of skill. You really have to pay attention to weather conditions, currents, and listen to your lifeguards because they're there to keep you safe. Try and learn as much as you can from them. Ask lifeguards questions. That is why we're here. That is why we are available to the public to help and serve and protect. So make sure you guys are taking care of yourself and you're taking care of your kids by learning about how important water safety is.
Having twin sisters sometimes means running into double trouble. That's why I double check it all. So now that we're all on the same boat, let's do our safety checks. Proper fitting life jackets for everyone. Check. Working fire extinguisher. Check. First aid kit. Check. VHF radio. Flares. Check. Beacons. Check. Whistle. Check. Sunblock, food and water. Check, check. Yes, plenty of water, because guess what, grown-ups? Alcohol and boating do not mix. Plus remember, always check weather forecasts and warnings before you go boating. And last but not least, always file a float plan. I run a tight ship because boating safety is no joke. Twin sisters! Check!
So remember, Safety first.
Hi, my name is Allison Haley, and I live in Rye, New Hampshire, and I'm the president and CEO of Al & Company and a part-time barista at Starbucks. I'm honored today to participate in Roxie's Wish and share a little bit of my history and insight into the importance of water safety. I was a lifeguard at age 15 and worked closely with the Red Cross to gain my water safety instructor's license in order to provide swim lessons to children and adults. And one of the most important things that I can share with everyone today is the buddy system. Whether you are entering the ocean, the lake, a pond, or pool, grabbing a friend, knowing that they're your buddy for the day, can actually save a life. So when you enter the water this year and for years to come, grab a buddy, see where they are, keep your eyes on each other so that in the end, you don't lose a friend.
I was assigned to a beach that was a unique beach. It was man-made in the Bronx, and as a result, there was a shelf very identical to the step-off that one sees in a pool. So one step within 10 or 15 feet of shore, you went from waist-high water into water over your head. Was the only beach available to people living in the Bronx. So on weekends, we would have crowds that range from 100,000 to 200 to 300,000 people. A vast majority of the people at Orchard Beach were people who did not know how to swim. So as a result, there was a rescue of approximately 2,000 people per summer. After, say, the first 5 years of my work, where I worked as a lifeguard and was assigned to a chair, the idea became clearer in my mind that here is a occupation that we're putting a lifeguards up on the chair, and we're not teaching them what they are to look for. There were assumptions in there that were inadequate. So what I did was, during the summers, I kept a log, beginning in 59. When I was training lifeguards, writing articles, trying to influence lifeguard training agencies in the United States to say that, look, here's a window. We're looking at a window of 20 to 60 seconds. So within that period of time, the identification and rescue has to take place.
There are people very close to him who didn't realize this boy was drowning.
This young boy does not have any movement in or out from shore, neither left nor right. He remains in the same position and extends his arms out to the sides. Drowning people don't have a choice. Nature tells them what to do.
After 20 years as a lifeguard, witnessing thousands of people close to drowning on Orchard Beach in the Bronx, Dr. Frank Pia captured this, what he calls the instinctive drowning response.
The young boy's mouth is sinking below and reappearing above the surface of the water.
Most drowning victims can't yell for help because they're having trouble breathing and their arms are busy grabbing the surface of the water. But when help arrives,
you see the young boy's struggle immediately stop. And during the rescue, the lifeguard props him up further and further. The further the boy's mouth gets away from the surface of the water, you'll see that his head is turning around, so he's looking for safety. You have to understand that the struggle of the drowning person lasts between 20 and 60 seconds. Young children struggle less than adults. The drowning movements of a young child can look like they're actually doing the dog paddle in the water when they're actually drowning.
parents need to realize how persistent and creative young children can be. Don't bring your book out with you. Don't expect to text. Don't bring your laptop or your tablet or anything else. Your job is one job: to be a water watcher. I think it was the next to the last year, my work as a chief lifeguard. I was speaking with this family, and there was this cute, 12-year-old. So I said, "Don't go swimming," and yeah. So I left. I was in the office, and I saw the police four-wheel drive vehicle down at the water's edge with the lights on. So I took off, and I'm just about to go in the water, and the family that I had just spoken to earlier about the drop-off, her daughter went in and stepped off the shelf and drowned. So the mother, cried out in Spanish, "Salve vida, por favor." Save her of life, please. I dove in, I picked her up on the second dive, picked her up, carried her out. And this was the first drowning person where the eyes were not closed. So I'm carrying her out, and she's looking up at me. And I gave her CPR, and I wasn't going to be able to bring her back. She affected me in a very, profound way. Because the father said to me, he says, "Look, she went in the water just to wash off some sand. She didn't call for me." So again, he was looking at his daughter who was drowning, not realizing that was happening. So it was at that point that the focus changed a bit for me. So it's not just training the lifeguards about drowning person recognition and the negative and positive self-talk that affects us during rescue work, but now also having to educate parents that if we're going to tell them watch kids, we better tell them what to look for. We are employing adolescents. This is their first job. There's an enormous responsibility. They have to understand they don't get a second chance. So if they're working in another occupation, say in the fast food, if they make an error with the food order, no big deal. It's not life-threatening. Here, if they decide to take themselves out of the surveillance system for a minute and a half, and somebody is struggling and goes under, well, and parents have to realize that this is it's a tough job.
Hello, my name is Brian McDonald, and I'm the superintendent of schools in the Pasadena Unified School District, the school district where Roxie was a student. This issue of childhood drowning is one that I take very seriously. You see, when I was a child, my childhood friend, Georgie, drowned in a local river where we used to swim. And to this day, that has affected me greatly. As a matter of fact, I almost drowned too as a child, which has led to an aversion to large bodies of water. This issue must be addressed. We should work together to make sure that children are taught how to swim at an early age, and that there are rules and regulations in place to protect children at pools, at the beach, and places where there are large bodies of water. So, Doug and Elena, I commend you on what you're doing on Roxie's behalf, in her name, to promote the issue of safety for children in terms of them being around water. God bless you.
Well, that was the video that went viral of then 16-year-old Jordan Holgerson being pushed off the bridge at Moulton Falls in Washington. Today marks 1 year since that happened, and Jordan is still dealing with all of that.
A teenager is dead after drowning in the Charles River. Police say the 17-year-old jumped into the water from the Weeks Footbridge in Cambridge around 8:45 last night.
As a family grieves, friends are remembering the life of a teenager who drowned earlier this week while swimming with friends.
Our Cole Miller joins us live in Clark County from Lacamas Lake with more on this. Cole.
Well, Dan, Jennifer, that 14-year-old boy was Anthony Hoon. We know he was swimming here at the lake with his friends and jumping off of the bridge behind me, which, as we push in, you can see has now become a memorial of sorts.
New at 10, family and friends remembering the life of Max Hoffbauer, a 15-year-old teen from Greenville who was killed after he jumped off a bridge into a Lawrence County lake and never resurfaced.
To complement the years and years of experience of Dr. Pia and Dr. Thurber, we also have young adults that are just starting out their lifeguarding careers.
One of the aspects of lifeguarding that Meow Meow Foundation is going to be talking a lot more about in the coming months and years is about lifeguards and age. Many lifeguard certification programs allow 15-year-olds to become certified, but are those 15-year-old brains equipped to handle such a weighty responsibility?
Organizations agreed that research on age requirements for lifeguarding were, quote, lacking. They said that as adolescents became older, they are likely better equipped to handle the stress and responsibility. But again, they gave no actual proof.
So what did they do? They looked back to old labor laws and decided not to change a thing, not to perform any scientific research, and simply to recommend that lifeguards should be 18 years old. Quote, whenever feasible.
In 2017, the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health ran a study covering young worker fatal injuries, including data from 1982 through 2013. Adolescents aged 15 through 17 represented 71% of these work-related fatal injuries. And of those fatalities, 88% were male. Interesting, males drown at roughly the same percentage compared to females.
And for non-fatal work-related injuries, the Institute found that young workers were upwards of 2.3 times more likely to injure themselves than those over age 25.
So here's where things stand today. Teens from 15 through 19 are injured at work every 5 minutes.
It should now be pretty obvious that the word hazardous is up for interpretation. Current child labor regulations regarding lifeguarding play directly into what we have been talking about regarding bounded awareness and cognitive bias.
We have access to information about young workers and injuries, and so do the American Red Cross and the YMCA and the Boy Scouts and others. We all agree that we could use more, specifically about lifeguards. But yet, these aquatics organizations with an abundance of assets have chosen not to do the research and keep their bounded awareness intact.
We go on trusting adolescents with our lives based on organizations that have offered no scientific proof that we should.
Dr. Adriana Galvan is a neuroscientist from UCLA. She studies the adolescent brain, and boy does she have some good insight.
How does the teenage brain make decisions? One of the first discoveries relevant to this topic was made when we discovered that the part of your brain in the very front, called the prefrontal cortex, which is the last brain region to develop, because your brain develops from the back to the front, continues to change up until the mid-20s. And the reason this is relevant is because the prefrontal cortex is a part of your brain that helps you think about the consequences or potential consequences of your actions before you do them. It helps you regulate your behavior and your emotions. And so it makes sense that if this part of the brain isn't fully available until well past adolescence, then teenagers may make more impulsive decisions with less regard for the potential future consequences. In real time, at the very moment your brain gets something that it likes, it will make you think that it's better. And you can think or imagine that in future circumstances, your brain will encode that information and remember that you liked it. So it will bias your decisions toward getting more rewards. And that's what happens during adolescence.
Having this reward center that's hyper-responsive to feedback actually helps teenagers learn from their environment. But this same region of the brain is also connected to risk-taking. Data from Adriana's lab suggests that teens with a more reactive striatum are more likely to engage in risky behavior and to enjoy it.